SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
You're listening to Sports Talk Mississippi On Demand, presented by Pearl River Resort. Escape to Choctaw, Mississippi and enjoy world-class gaming, the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, and Geyser Falls Water Park. Escape to Pearl River Resort.
Sports Talk Mississippi is on the air. Sports Talk Mississippi is powered by C-Spire. Power your home or business with C-Spire Fiber. To learn more, visit supertalk.fm/C-Spire. C-Spire Fiber powers SuperTalk Mississippi. To the junction, in the Grove, and to the top. This is Sports Talk Mississippi. On your radio and in the game. Right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
You know, it's always a great day to be an American, but some days are better than others, and this is looking like one of them. Welcome into Sports Talk Mississippi. You just have to, I guess the top of my head's just going to be cut off today. I guess that's what we're going to have to do here. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm Brian Haydad. Michael Borky. He made the correct decision to take the day off to watch the Americans because with the United States leading at the end of the first half, 2-0 over the Australians, he would have 0% chance of being locked in to doing this show today. That's why I'm going to be here. I'm very professional, as you all know. I have never been known to go off on an emotional tangent or anything of that nature. I'm always very, very locked in, very humble, very, I don't know. I don't know the words I'll use. There's somebody is there anybody in the studio with me today? I don't know the answer to that question.
This isn't the song I chose. Oh, no, this is not the song I meant. This isn't the song that I meant.
What is, why? What did you mean to hit?
I meant to hit Stone Cold.
Oh.
But this is more accurate, I guess.
It's not raining, though.
And maybe not at your place.
Oh, they're raining down there in Jackson, in the capital city?
It's flood conditions.
Oh, really? I didn't know. It's been nice up here today.
You not listen to the news? We got floods everywhere.
When would I listen to it? I don't ever hear the commercials in the thing. I've been here working.
You just keep paying attention to your soccer.
I have to. That's my job. That's my job, don't you know, is to watch sports. You saw like my wife. Why are you watching this? It's my job, honey. You want to keep the lights on?
Yes, it has been raining quite often here in the state of Mississippi.
Very good.
Newsflash.
Very good.
To go along with the flood flash, okay? The flash flood, whatever it is.
News flash, flood flash, purple flash. Call it what you will.
Golden flash.
Purple flash was what we were. Will East in Studio X with us again. As I said, 2-0, the Americans, an on goal, getting the first score for the Americans. It's their second on goal of the tournament. On goal is well in front in the race for the Golden Boot. There have been more on goals in this tournament than anybody else has.
So what's an on goal?
When the other team scores for you.
Oh.
If you kick it in their own net.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's what happened. Ball goes into the box. Australian defender tries to clear it, doesn't. Goes in his own net. 1-0. And then
a shrimp on his bobby.
It was Bonza. And then
you think that's a goal? This is a goal.
Well, they the land down under, they just got it backwards there.
Yeah, the water turned into the other way.
Exactly.
This is every Australian stereotype that I know, okay?
Yeah, well, I'm running out here. That's a knife. Something like that. And then late, just in the start of stoppage time, Americans get a set piece. Des ricochets it off the Australian defense, and who is there but Freeman, the son of Antonio Freeman, former Packers wide receiver.
Really?
Heads it in. They had to do a VAR check. He was onside, and it's 2-0, and the second half just about to get started in Seattle. Looks like an unbelievable atmosphere there at Seattle Stadium. It's Seattle Stadium. That's what they're having. Have you seen this?
No.
Are you aware of it? So FIFA, you know how like we try to do free shout-outs here, on the show. You know, we'd like to, if you want to advertise, you can talk to us. We'll
like if there was a, let's say, Caterpillar Stadium.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say that because ag up.
Right.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. But even then, just so much as like if I went out to eat at a restaurant that didn't advertise with us, I would be like, hey, I had a great lunch. I wouldn't necessarily say I had it here.
Gotcha.
FIFA is the masters of no branding. So there's like this thing going around right now. The 49ers, they play at Levi's Stadium, right?
Uh-huh.
There's a giant banner over the word Levi's right now at the stadium. Every stadium is referred to as just by the city it's in. And even yesterday, because we were trying to figure out what the name of the stadium the Seahawks play in actually is, it's not Quest Field anymore. It's now Lumen Field.
Yeah.
But if you Google it, it just says Seattle Stadium for the FIFA World Cup. Every stadium is just by that. No branding of any kind is allowed.
What did they do for Jordan Hare?
That was not the World Cup. That was just a friendly.
That was just
an exhibition match, not connected to the World Cup. So, like, the Meadowlands is New York, New Jersey Stadium. And I was telling Borky that I saw a thing.
First of all, they should have called it Meadowlands. Okay, because that's where the thing is.
They should have called it, that Jersey thing over there. They're a glorified crew. But I was telling Borky yesterday that I saw a picture from, like one of the suites, right? So they've got like the food out there, and they've got like a big table with all the condiments on it: mayonnaise, mustard, ketchup. Every label blacked out.
They go that far?
They go that far. You'll get nothing from FIFA if you're not paying for it. Nothing.
Wow.
I almost respect it, to be totally honest with you.
Wow.
Yeah, we could learn from those guys. So, second half just getting underway in Seattle. They're now in the 47th minute, 2-0 to the Americans. If the Americans win this for the first, if they win this game, they will, for the first time in history, be through to the knockout stages after 2 games. They've never been able to do it in just 2 games, and I think it's if there's not a draw tonight. If there's a loss, if somebody – maybe it is a draw. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but they can clinch the group tonight if they win this game. So it just depends on what happens. Yeah, so Paraguay and Turkey both have 0 points. So if they draw, nobody could catch the Americans. So an American win and a draw tonight between Paraguay and Turkey would clinch the group for the Americans. So possibly a very historic day of
when did they switch it from Turkey to Turkey?
We were talking about that a few weeks ago. I have no idea. I will not be referring to it as my Thanksgiving Turkey. We're not going to have turkey and dressing or anything of that nature.
Not going down to Subway and get a turkey.
I know. Can I get a foot-long turkey on white?
Get the roasted turkey.
Yeah. I'm not going to do that. No, we're not. What do you like to put in your collard greens? I put a smoked turkey leg in there. No, none of that. But the Turks.
Hey, we don't want to be called USA anymore. Just call us USA, all right?
USA.
Just call it.
Well, that's the thing, though. They made it more complicated. They added a syllable. It was turkey.
Well,
now
and they got that umlaut thing going on.
Yeah, there's an umlaut. Yeah, I don't know what the Turks are up to. They've been, why don't we just go back to calling them the Ottomans?
You can't trust them if you ask me.
Well, that's your Greek side of your family talking is what just happened. What just happened right there. We had a great show, I think, today. We're going to do some SEC win totals. We talked about State's win total in depth the other day. Let's do them all. Let's hit all the all 16 schools. We got 2 teams in the top 100, or the 100 teams in 100 days. Wilson Alexander is going to join us in a little while. Let's talk some college football with Wilson. He's a on-3 national guy. Let's get his thoughts on some things. And then, Rebel fans, once again, your boy, I got you. We haven't talked a lot about what you guys have been doing in the portal for baseball. Chase Parham, a man who knows Ole Miss baseball better than anyone. He'll join the show a little later as well. We've got a great top 5 lined up, I think.
We do.
You got a good list?
I have a very good list. And I researched. I spent my whole lunch hour researching this. I even chat GBT'd it, and I completely disagree with the internet. So
I'm tempted to change it now, just because you put all that work in. Just be like, hey, let's just do top 5 sandwiches. Let's just do that instead. No, we've got a really good one a little later in the show, and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on in Seattle between the Americans and the Australians. Please compare a 2-0 lead in soccer to a football score. Ooh. It was, so 2-0, 2-1 is the most dangerous score. Whoever scores the next goal usually wins at 2-1. So at 2-0, it's kind of like you're up 17-0. But because goals are and touchdowns are kind of different, if Australia scores, all of a sudden it's like 17-10. It's that kind of momentum shift. So 17-0, I think, would be the football equivalent of that. Fun fact: Istanbul was once Constantinople. I did know that.
Yeah,
I was aware.
Where
of
did they get the Turkey from?
Brother, I don't speak Turkish. I don't speak Kurdish. The only thing I can say in Arabic is stupid. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there. Just getting started with you here on a Friday afternoon. A lot going on here in Sports Talk, Mississippi. Looking forward to it. Me and Will East with you. Back in just a minute.
Good afternoon from
Sports Talk Mississippi continues.
All right, back here on Sports Talk Mississippi, I'm Brian Haydad. Thanks for joining me on a Friday afternoon. We're in the Pearl River Resort Studios, pearlriverresort.com. What a great weekend you could have at Pearl River Resort, doing whatever it is that you like to do. Do you like to play golf? Championship golf courses at Dancing Rabbit. You like to have fun with the family? Take them to a weekend at Geyser Falls. You like to eat great food? A steak at Philip M's, maybe the best one in this entire state. You just like to relax and have a good time. You can do all that right there at Pearl River Resort. Book your stay now at pearlriverresort.com. C-Spire text line's open to you at 601-879-4395. With C-Spire, it's easier than ever to get all the devices you want in one move with the Ultimate Connect bundle. Right now, new and current customers can get a free phone, watch, and tablet, plus 100 gigs of data for just $90. It includes a new iPhone 17 and Samsung Galaxy S26 for free, and a free smartwatch and tablet to go with it. Don't wait. There's more to see. Visit cspire.com or stop by your local C-Spire store today. C-Spire, inspired by you. Before we get into these win totals, a little bit of breaking news right before the show started. Former Mississippi State defensive lineman, current Tennessee Titan defensive lineman Jeff Simmons has just signed a new deal. He is now the highest paid defensive tackle in NFL history. A 3-year, $105.9 million extension with $100 million guaranteed to the former Bulldog. Mississippi State now has had 2 of the highest paid defensive tackles ever in Fletcher Cox and Jeff Simmons. And, of course, it's not like Chris Jones is out there, rubbing 2 nickels together either. He's got plenty of money as well. But what a deal for Jeff. A guy that, we've talked about him many times, made a terrible mistake as a high school kid. And if ever anybody took full advantage of a second chance and has never looked back and never come close to being in an ounce of trouble, not even a parking ticket, it's Jeff Simmons. So congrats to him, man. $105 million. My guess is Zach Selman's already texted him. Jeff!
Been a long time.
How you doing? We hadn't seen you around here.
Looking good.
Yeah, something like that. So big money. I don't know that I've ever seen a contract that has it's $105.8 million and $100 guaranteed. Like, we couldn't just go ahead and get the 5.8. We couldn't just. That's chicken
Let's
feed
hold
money.
Let's see see how it works out.
That's chicken feed money. What are we talking about here? $5.8 million at that point? Just give them the whole thing's guaranteed.
That was the GM going to the owner going, look at the money I saved us, all right?
I may have saved us, this franchise, $6 million. That's great. But we're going to have to pay $100. It's one of those things. All right. Oh, goodness gracious. So, SEC win totals. We went over state the other day, but let's just do all of them right here. We'll just go alphabetically here. These are from our friends at CBS Sports. Actually, this article written by our good friend John Talty. But these win totals come to us from, does it say where? It's from FanDuel. All right, we'll work with FanDuel here. Alabama, 8.5. Let's just real quick do this. Here's Alabama's schedule. East Carolina at Kentucky, Florida State, South Carolina at Mississippi State, Georgia at Tennessee, A&M at LSU, at Vanderbilt, Chattanooga, Auburn. That feels like a pretty easy cash.
They have a pretty easy schedule.
Yeah. Georgia, obviously tough. At LSU, tough. That's really it.
But you're catching Mississippi State, South Carolina,
Kentucky,
Vanderbilt, probably not going to be as good.
Auburn in Tuscaloosa is always an Alabama blowout win.
And then FSU, they're
terrible.
Non-conference game.
Yeah, East Carolina. That feels like an easy cash on the over.
Yeah.
So if we were going to direct your money, that's where we do it. Arkansas is 4.5. I got to be honest with you. If you listen to Thunder and Lightning, you already know. I had Arkansas going 3-9. North Alabama at Utah, Georgia, Tulsa at Texas A&M, Tennessee at Vandy, Missouri at Auburn, South Carolina at Texas, LSU. I think they'll beat North Alabama. I think they'll beat Texas. Vandy is a toss-up game. And then the rest, they're not going to be favored in any of those games.
I got to go under.
I would go under. I'd go under with the Hogs there for sure. Auburn is interesting, 6.5. Ish, that feels a little high. Baylor, which I hate, by the way. This is something that bothers me. They're playing Baylor in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Last year they played Baylor, guess where? At Baylor. Just play the game at Auburn. Baylor, Southern Miss, Florida, Vandy. So 4 straight at home to start the year. I guess, they have a neutral site game, but they'll be the home team against Baylor. At Tennessee, at Georgia, LSU, at Ole Miss, Arkansas, at Mississippi State, Samford, and at Alabama. Again, on Thunder and Lightning, I had Auburn going 5-7. I would take the under on that one. That's me. I have them beating Baylor, Southern Miss, Vandy, Arkansas, and Samford. I have Mississippi State getting that one.
I think for them, the Florida game is going to determine a lot. If they win that game,
is there a more interesting 2 weeks there? By the way, you got Auburn, Florida, the same day as Ole Miss, LSU, and then the next week Florida is playing
pretty good
Ole Miss. Like Florida could either make or break their season right there.
Yep.
So talk about Florida. I'm big on the Gators this year. I think they're the big bounce back team in the conference. 7.5. I have them going over. To be totally honest with you, I have them going over. Florida Atlantic, Campbell, Florida State. I think they'll go 3-0 there, and then their conference schedule at Auburn, Ole Miss, at Missouri, South Carolina, at Texas, Georgia, of course, in the cocktail party, Oklahoma at home, at Kentucky, Vandy. At Kentucky, Vandy, South Carolina, Missouri, Auburn. I think you can get all those. That would be 8.
Yeah,
I think they're in. I think that's an over. This to me, Will, is the safest one, and it's the biggest one. But Georgia over under 9.5. Georgia is certainly going to win 10 games on this schedule. I have Georgia going undefeated, I'll be honest with you. But Tennessee, Western Kentucky, at Arkansas, Oklahoma, Vandy, at Alabama, Auburn, Florida, at Ole Miss, Missouri, at South Carolina, Georgia Tech. Even if you want to be super nitpicky and say that they would lose at Alabama and at Ole Miss, that's still 10-2. They're still over. I can't believe that the number here is 9.5. That's surprising.
The fact that they're not playing Texas...
That helps them.
Big help for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Alabama game is the one where you go, because they've had their number for whatever reason. I don't know why, but they've had their number the past couple of years. Last year, that was just a head scratcher.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know why they've had such success against them. But I don't know. I can't see Georgia losing more than 2 games. So I feel like a pretty easy pick for the over. Kentucky over 4.5. Youngstown State, Alabama at A&M, South Alabama at South Carolina, LSU at Oklahoma, Vanderbilt at Tennessee, Florida, Missouri, Louisville. Going to be right on the line, I think.
They have a much tougher schedule than what you would think.
Yeah. Well, the change of getting away from the divisions hurt them because, they would normally not have to play Alabama, A&M, LSU all on the same season, and Oklahoma.
I mean, but Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Florida. I mean,
that's really tough.
You throw Louisville in there as your non-conference, as one of the non-conference games. I don't know.
Yeah, that's going to be right on the line.
See, they have two almost guaranteed win: Youngstown State, South Alabama.
Right. They should be able to beat Vandy.
Yeah,
I think Vandy takes a big step back. South Carolina is interesting, and then the game against Louisville might be the decider. You might go into the day of like that. Interesting to hear from Dwight, by the way. According to their fans, a big reason why Auburn went hard on the soccer exhibition was them not hosting the Baylor game just for the in-town businesses. That's a good point. How many home is Auburn on the wrong side of the home conference thing this year? They have 1, 2, 3, 4. They are on the wrong side. So they play 5. They play 6 of their 12 games away from Jordan-Hare this year. God, who's their athletic director? What an idiot. All right, LSU. Got some interest in that team here in this state, don't we? 8.5 is their number. Clemson, Louisiana Tech, at Ole Miss, Texas A&M, McNeese, at Kentucky, Mississippi State, at Auburn, Alabama, Texas, at Tennessee, Arkansas. They beat Ole Miss, I think they go over that number. If they lose to Ole Miss, I could see the season getting away from them.
That game is kind of the linchpin. Which way do you go in this
season? For both teams. Yeah, it's just such an emotional. It's going to be such an emotional game. I think if LSU wins that game, they'll be fine. They'll be off and running. They might even contend for the SEC championship. But if they lose, I could see that bothering Kiffin all year long. So if you're asking for my betting advice on the Tigers here, let's stay away. Let's see what happens with LSU for year one under Kiffin. Feels like it should go the right way. Should go over 8.5, but I just want to see how they play. Plus, I'm just not super sold on Sam Levitt. I've said it many times here on the show that I'm just not super sold on him. Mississippi State, we talked about them earlier this week. Over 4.5. I would take the over on that. I think they'll get their 3 non-conference and then some other combination. Of the 9 conference games, I think they'd get 2 of them at minimum.
All right.
Maybe Vandy, maybe Auburn, maybe Missouri, but I think you could take the over on Mississippi State. We'll talk about Ole Miss and the rest of the conference when we come back, doing SEC win totals. What are the Rebels? We'll get to them in just a minute. Back in a few here on Sports Talk Mississippi. Just getting started with you here on a Friday afternoon. Still 2-0 as the Americans holding on to this lead.
2-0. It's called 2-0.
2-0.
0.
We use the correct verbiage here. Back in just a minute.
From the Seabrook.
From the flatlands of Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi.
Every minute worth waiting for.
Super Talk Mississippi.
One time we were going to Atlanta and we saw tattletales from the interstate. I was like, oh my God! The crew partied there. Good time. Sports Talk Mississippi.
These walls could talk.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to hear the stories.
We can't do that. We couldn't. The FCC would come down on us if we told those stories, I'm sure.
So would law enforcement.
Yeah, you're right. From the C Spire text line, U.S. Open update, please. Buddy, it's not that kind of show. I don't know what to tell you. You got the wrong guy in the seat for a U.S. Open update. I have no idea. And I got too many tabs open as it is, so I'm sure someone's winning. They're under par, probably. We're doing SEC win totals here. We stopped at Mississippi State. We'll stay on the alphabetical side of things, so Ole Miss will come down a little bit later when we get to the O's. We will not Jackie Sherrill them here and call them Mississippi. Missouri next up, 6.5. Here's the thing. Again, is this time last year I was like believe it or not, one of the conductors on the Austin Simmons hype train. Really believed in that guy and thought he was going to be a great player. If that guy shows up from Missouri, they're going to go way over on this. But let's have a look. University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. They're at Kansas. Is that actually at Kansas?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, it is good. It's good. Very good. Troy at Mississippi State, Florida, Texas A&M, at Ole Miss, at Arkansas, Texas, Georgia, Kentucky, Oklahoma. Here's what I would say. I think they'll beat Kansas. That Mississippi State game, if they win that game, they're probably going to be an 8 or 9 win team. If they lose it, they're probably going to be under this number, be six wins probably. Something like that.
They're going to be another loser in this whole 9-game schedule thing.
Yeah.
I mean, all these East teams that...
Yeah, they should still be playing...
would get Vanderbilt every single year.
Yeah.
When Vanderbilt was bad. But, you got Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas A&M.
Oklahoma.
Yeah. That's
tough.
That's a tough schedule.
All right. Speaking of Oklahoma, Sooners won, 10 games last year? This year their over-under is 7.5. Interesting. UTEP at Michigan. New Mexico at Georgia. That's a tough first couple of weeks there. Those first 4 weeks, it's like cupcake, maybe the toughest game in America. Cupcake, maybe the toughest game in America. Texas, of course, I gave you in Dallas at a neutral site. Kentucky at Mississippi State, South Carolina at Florida, Ole Miss at home, Texas A&M at home, at Missouri. Goodness gracious, that's a tough schedule. And when you add Michigan, you got to play Michigan in your non-conference. 7.5 is going to be. It's going to be interesting. I would
at the big house.
At the big house, yeah. Beat them last year in Oklahoma. I thought that was an upset. And this year we'll see what happens. Michigan. That'll be Whittingham's first big home game for them. I think they lose to Michigan. They lose to Georgia, and then are they going to Texas? I probably lose that one. Ole Miss is going to be very tough. At Florida is going to be very tough. That's a tough one. I don't know that I would put money on that one. It's very close. Ole Miss. Not a lot of faith. Again, if Lane Kiffin is still in Oxford, this number is probably 2 wins higher. It's probably 2 wins higher. It's 7.5. People just have questions about the Rebels. Louisville, Charlotte. Louisville, of course, we played in Nashville. LSU at home, at Florida, at Vanderbilt, Missouri, at Texas, Auburn, Georgia, at Oklahoma, Wofford, and then the Egg Bowl to finish it up. So what games would Ole Miss be an underdog in? Probably at Texas. Georgia, even in Oxford, they're probably an underdog in that one. Are they an underdog at Oklahoma, you think?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, at Oklahoma, that game was really close last year.
That was a weird game. That's
very weird
that's
game.
where Kiffin is starting to realize I'm leaving. That's what's going on there.
Yeah. In fact, that was the game where he said, "I'm coming back," supposedly, and everybody was like, he said he's coming back, and he corrected them later and said, "No, I didn't say that."
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, "Oh."
Yeah, that guy. 7.5. I feel like they'll go over that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think they're a 9-win team this year. I don't know if they'll be in the playoff or not, but the team has got enough talent to get there.
Again, it's like kind of like last year or the year before that Florida game at Florida.
It'll be huge.
Incredible.
Again, I think if Ole Miss loses to LSU, they'll lose to Florida. I think that game will beat them twice. That's just how I'm looking at it. South Carolina is at 6.5. Kent State and Towson. So hey, you're a third of the way there. Mississippi State at home, that's a massive game for both teams. It's, all the world is going to be focused on Ole Miss LSU, but man, those two teams' season may be defined right there in Columbia. Then they're at Alabama, Kentucky at home, at Florida, Tennessee at home, at Oklahoma, Texas A&M. It's kind of funny. They go home and away the rest of the way. Texas A&M, at Arkansas, Georgia at home, at Clemson. If they beat State... They'll have a chance. 6.5, I don't know, though. I think they'll lose to Alabama. They'll lose at Florida. They'll lose to Tennessee. They'll lose to Oklahoma. They'll lose to A&M. Lose to Georgia. That's 6 right there. I wouldn't go. I'd go under. I'd go under on this one. I'd go under. Tennessee is at 7.5.
Tennessee's another one of those teams where I don't
really know what I have.
I don't know what I have, and it's all because of the quarterback position.
They're probably going to be starting a true freshman. I did a preview of them on Thunder and Lightning back a few weeks ago, and talking to my Tennessee guy, he said he thinks that he's a very talented kid, Faison Brandon, but true freshman?
True freshman.
That's tough. Furman at Georgia Tech. That should be an interesting game. Kennesaw State, then Texas, Auburn, at Arkansas, Alabama at South Carolina, Kentucky at A&M, LSU at Vanderbilt. It's 7.5. I have 7 and 5 written down, so gives you an idea of what I'm thinking. I don't know, man. True freshman quarterback scares me.
All right.
Texas. Here's another one. Like 9.5. Like that feels low. That feels like a low number. I think Texas is going to go undefeated. I have them down as 12-0. I have a 12-0 Texas versus a 12-0 Georgia in the SEC championship game. Texas State, I have them beating Ohio State in Austin. UTSA at Tennessee, Oklahoma, Florida, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, at Missouri, at LSU, at Arkansas, at Texas A&M. I mean, I just don't see a world where they win. They go 9-3. If they go 9-3, they might fire Sark. I'll say that.
So let's say they lose to Ohio State. Let's say they lose to like an Oklahoma.
Okay, there's 2. Got to lose one more to go be under.
What if they lose to Ole Miss?
I mean, they could.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I think Texas is one of the best teams in the country this year. I think they take a big step forward. I just tell you right now, even at 9-3, they'd fire Sark. If you miss the playoffs 2 years in a row with Arch Manning as your quarterback, I don't think there's coming back from that. I don't think you can. Texas A&M in the college football playoff a season ago, they're at 8.5. Missouri State, Arizona State, that's an interesting week 2 game. Kentucky, first 3 games at home. At LSU, Arkansas, at Missouri, the Citadel, at Alabama, at South Carolina, Tennessee, at Oklahoma, and then Texas. That game's on Black Friday at night. I have 8 and 4 written down, so I guess I'm going under. I have them losing to LSU, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Texas.
LSU, Oklahoma, and who? Texas?
Alabama and Texas.
That Alabama game is the one.
But I will say this. LSU, when do they play Texas A&M? After the Ole Miss game. So if Ole Miss beats LSU, I would flip that prediction.
If Mike Elko goes 8 and 4.
Oh, Texas 8 and 4. It's a meme for a reason. 100%. Last one is Vanderbilt. What is their number? It is 6.5. Guys, all right, last year I said, no way, it was a fluke. They'll be bad again. And then Pavia proved me wrong. But now Pavia's gone. And this is another team that's likely going to be starting a true freshman quarterback. I just don't buy into the idea that Vanderbilt has flipped the script and become a consistent winning program. I think Pavia was an outlier.
Is the depth there?
Yeah, I don't
know.
So Austin Peay, Delaware, I'll give them those 2. NC State, at Auburn, at Georgia, Ole Miss, Arkansas, at Kentucky, at Mississippi State, Alabama, at Florida, Tennessee. I would go under on that one. It just feels like, I feel like they'd be doing really good to get to 6 and 6.
They could win 4 games.
They could win 2 games. They could win the first 2 and then lose the rest.
And then where's all that Clark Lee talk then?
It's
Diego
less.
Pavia all along.
Well, we have kind of like a mini Belichick Brady thing happening here. Like, everybody always debated, is it Belichick or is it Brady? And then we figured out it was Brady, right? Because he goes to Tampa Bay, wins the Super Bowl. Patriots aren't very good after Brady leaves. I got a feeling I think players are just more important. You know?
Especially in college football.
If I switch, we woke up tomorrow and switched Ole Miss's and State's rosters. Is all of a sudden Jeff Lebby a better coach? No, he just has the better players around him at that point.
Is Ryan Day that much better of a coach than Jeff Lebby?
Right. If I gave Ohio State its roster to Mississippi State, I feel pretty confident State would be good.
Yeah.
So, all right, when we come back, we're going to do 100 teams in 100 days. We're going to go to the West Coast. We go to it's named a German word, I believe, is the name of this city. We'll do that when we come back. Looking forward. And I'll just go ahead and let you know, guys. Get your pocketbook ready for this restaurant. We're going to be spending a little cash. We go out to eat in this town. We'll do that when we come back, wrapping up the 4 o'clock hour here on Sports Talk Mississippi.
Good afternoon.
Check this out.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Super Talk Mississippi.
Back here on Sports Talk Mississippi, we are into the 88th minute in Seattle. Still 2-0, the United States leading the Australians. Australians are trying to be a little more aggressive, but it's just not working out for them. I'll tell you this, as a guy who watches a lot of soccer, this American team looks like a different kind of team. They look like the kind of team. Again, win the World Cup? Probably. That's not going to happen. But could they win a game in the knockouts the way they're playing right now, the way that they look? Yeah, they look more competitive than any American team I've ever seen before. Let's go into it. 100 teams in 100 days.
This day is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. This day is bananas.
100 teams in 100 days.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Team number 71 on the countdown. Drink it in. San Diego State. The Aztecs, 9-4 a season ago. Defensively, a really good football team. They only gave up 200 points in 13 games, 49 of which were in the bowl game. So, pretty good. Gave up single digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times with 3 shutouts. Man. 9-4 on the year. They won 42-0 to start the year against Stony Brook. Lost to Washington State in week 2. Then shut out Cal 34-0. Pretty impressive. 6-3 over Northern Illinois. Beat Colorado State. Beat Nevada. Beat Fresno. Beat Wyoming. And then a loss to the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors out on the island, but then bounced back with back-to-back wins against Boise State and San Jose State. They lost a game to New Mexico, 23-17 in the season finale, and then lost again in New Mexico at the New Mexico Bowl to North Texas. That was the final game before Eric Morris and his group made their way to Oklahoma State. 49-47, one of the better bowl games of the year. So 9-4 are the Aztecs. This season, they'll start the year off with Portland State, and then an interesting game. They were able to beat Cal last year. Let's see what they do this year when they travel to the Rose Bowl to take on UCLA. Then it's James Madison. They're welcome in the champions of the Sun Belt to Snapdragon Stadium. Then a game with Toledo, Texas State, at Oregon State, Fresno State, at Colorado State. Washington State goes to San Diego. They'll host Utah State, and they'll finish the year at Boise State. Will the Aztecs, as part of the new, revamped, and better than ever Pac-12. Not better than ever, though. That's just part of the branding. But it's not actually better.
I hate San Diego State's logo.
You hate the Aztecs?
I hate that logo because they used to have the coolest logo there was. If you go back and look at their logo from the 60s.
You're talking about like when they actually had an Aztec on there?
It looked like actual Aztec hieroglyphs or whatever they are.
Yeah, art.
Yeah, art.
Let's say art.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. And then they decided, we'll just go with some, S&D that looks, whatever. So they should bring that back.
There you go. The best restaurant in the city of San Diego is at a resort called Covewood. The restaurant is the restaurant is Covewood, and the resort is the Mission Bay Resort. Just looking at this place, I can't even find where I'm supposed to pay. Let's see here. We're gonna stay 4 nights here.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead and put your credit card in there.
They won't even give you. They won't even tell you how much. There's give us your email address and we'll reach out to you. So my guess is Richard could stay there, but you and I are probably not so much.
I've got the menu here.
Yeah, I've got it right here. So let's talk about Covewood Restaurant, which is the highest rated in the resort and in the city of San Diego. I love doing it. Here we go again. How much do you think a dozen oysters is going to run us at this restaurant?
$28.
You are incorrect. $28 barely gets us a half dozen, my friend. That's a $46 dozen oysters at Covewood.
Oh.
14-ounce bone-in New York strip with a Yukon potato dauphinoise. Thumbelina carrots. I don't even know what that is, man. Are they like little baby carrots? I don't know. That's a $65 steak, though. I will tell you that. They got some good seafood options. They've got some vegetarian options, some pasta. What do they got for dessert? All this stuff is kind of the same wherever you go. A good dessert could make or break. Oh, sticky toffee pudding. Okay. You got my attention. That's a good one. Or the espresso mousse crumble cake with a cinnamon streusel and white chocolate cremo. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I just saw the accent over the R and the E, and I was like, I better really bite in here to this French. So,
what you going to get to drink there, buddy?
Well, I mean, that's a. They don't have that $14,000 bottle of wine like they had at the place last week, but they got some great options.
I see you more as a peach elderflower spritz guy.
Sure,
$16.
Yeah, I'll try it.
All right.
If you're ever in San Diego at the Mission Bay Resort and you're eating at Covewood Restaurant, you let them know that Hey Dad and Willie sent you. 4 o'clock hour. We'll look. This game should be wrapped up when we come back. We'll talk about what the Americans did. I'll give you some thoughts on the World Cup. I know Will's looking forward to that. Back in just a minute on Sports Talk Mississippi.
You're hearing Sports Talk Mississippi.
What? This is so
awesome on Super Talk Mississippi.
America. Heck yeah. 2-0 is your final from Seattle. The Americans have clinched a spot in the knockouts, and as we said earlier, a draw tonight between Paraguay and I've forgotten it, Turkey, and the Americans will have won the group and be off to the next off to the knockout round. This is Sports Talk Mississippi. I'm Brian Haydad. Will East is in Studio X. The weekend is here. And for a lot of us, that means you got to get out there and get the grass mowed. And I don't care how big your property is. You're just a simple homeowner, or if you've got, a huge tract of land, you got to have the right equipment. And that's where our friends at Ag Up come in for you right now. If you are a landowner with a big piece of property, a John Deere compact tractor might be the right call. And right now at Ag Up, 0% financing on all 1 through 4 series models. If you're a first-time landowner or you've been doing this a long time, but it's just time to trade up, Ag Up's team knows exactly how to get you in the right machine for your property, but more importantly these days, your budget. Stop by your local Ag Up equipment location. There's 15 of them across this great state of ours. Or you can go to agup.com. Ag Up Equipment and John Deere, built for what's next. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details. What's up on Sports Talk Mississippi is brought to you by Ag Up. In about 13 minutes, Wilson Alexander from On3 Sports is going to join us, talk a little college football. We'll follow him up. We'll stay on the Farm Bureau guest line and talk to Chase Parham of Rebels 24/7. Ole Miss in the portal, bringing in some guys this week. I want to get some ideas. Don't know a lot about them myself, as you might can imagine. So let's talk to one of the guys that would know. We've got another team, the top 100, 100 teams in 100 days, plus a top 5 that I'm sure we're all going to enjoy because it's the good times. We're going to talk about some of the good times between Mississippi State and Ole Miss. But let's do a little World Cup update here. Can I get some soccer-y music? Do you have any Wagner?
Yeah, let me find something.
Yeah, some Wagner, some Beethoven or something.
Just go and I'll find it. How about
okay? As I said, 2-0. The Americans have won as they have advanced into the round of 16. They will play in the knockout round. Somebody, I don't know where Borky is watching the game. He just tweeted a picture. Somebody there is dressed as George Washington. I love it. Good stuff. Later tonight, I guess that game tonight isn't tonight between Paraguay and Turkey. We've got Scotland and Morocco. The Scots have been one of the joys of this World Cup. I'm going to guess because I don't know.
Well, there's the lyrics right there, so tell me.
I don't know the song. I'm going to try to guess the composer.
I don't even know what it is.
Oh, Bach.
Sure. Or no, I don't know.
You don't know?
I have no
What does it say it is?
It says it's 3 hours of the best of opera.
Oh, of opera. Okay. May not be Bach then. All right, then. That might be Mozart. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know.
It's a beautiful aria.
It is. It is.
All right, I got
So, later, as it's the Scots against the Moroccans. The Moroccans were in the Final Four a year ago. They drew with Brazil last week. Brazil will take on Haiti at 7:30 tonight. So that should be Brazil looking to get a win, trying to get control of their group to advance into the knockout rounds. So far, the teams that I've been impressed with, France was very good in the second half against a pretty good Senegal team. And then I thought that the most impressive team to me were the English. They just destroyed Croatia. Croatia's a good team. They'll probably make it to the knockout round, even with that 3-goal difference or that 2-goal difference there. But the English looked really, really good. I do believe that this is England's. This is like, if they don't win this year, I just don't know when they're going to win. I feel like everybody's in their prime that needs to be there. They've got a lot of good young talent. They've got the best guy in the world up top. They should. If they don't win it this year, I don't know when they're going to. The Germans were very impressive. Of course, they played, a team that is kind of happy to be there in Curacao. So it was cool that they scored, but then from that point on, it was just all downhill for the Curaçaoians, Curaçaoites. I don't know. I don't know what
do you know a Curaçaoan?
Do I know a Curaçaoan? I can't say that I do.
The only one I know is Andrew Jones of the Braves.
Is he from Curaçao?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure I know a couple, but I don't know I can't tell you that, It's one of those things like Andrew Jones. If you said they're from Curaçao, I'd be like, oh, I know who that is.
Yeah.
So, you know what? What if we had a device where we could just Google famous Curaçaoans? Famous Curaçao
I bet
people.
you Andrew Jones top 3.
He is number 1. Along with Kenley Jansen. Ozzie Albies is Curaçaoan.
Who?
Ozzie Albies plays for the Braves.
Okay.
Okay, then. Nobody from the entertainment and the arts.
Braves got that Curaçaoan pipeline going on.
Well, they also had Andrelton Simmons. He was Curaçaoan. So is Jurickson Profar. He played for the Braves, didn't he? I know he plays for the Padres. And then Didi Gregorius of the Yankees. So it says world-class sprinters. Who are they? They've got Chirandi Martina, multiple-time Olympic sprinter, but they represented the Netherlands, Antilles, and the Netherlands, not Curaçao.
So they got a weird Netherlands thing going on.
Yeah.
Curaçao, I guess it was colonized by them at one point or something like that. But it didn't. I think Andrew Jones was in when they did the World Cup. Curaçao didn't have a team. I think he played for the Netherlands the first time.
There are only two things in this world I cannot stand:
Ole Miss and
the Dutch. Yes, it's pronounced Mozart, kind of like you say the word pizza. Okay, I didn't know that.
All right, Professor.
Don't be afraid to say the U.S. is showing out. I know you can't blow Borky's head up, but the U.S. is playing really well. I mean, there's no getting around that. They look more like a team that could win some games, right? I've watched the U.S. play before, and I'm like, they're just kind of struggling to get through. This team is aggressive. They're physical. They play with a lot of passion. I think that Pochettino has instilled. Pochettino's a guy who's coached, in the Champions League. He's coached big games. He knows what it takes to win. I think having that mentality, he's talked about the physicality that his team needs to be a little bit more. They need to be bullies. Why not? You got big, strong guys out there. Take advantage of that.
So is Australia out of it?
No, they are not. Yeah, round of 32. That's my mistake. Not the round of 16. No, Australia, if they were to, they have one more game remaining with Paraguay. If they were to win, it just depends. All right? It just depends.
Okay.
But they're not out of it. They're still very much in it. Because they do have a win. They beat Turkey. So if they win, if they win one more game, they would be in.
All right.
They would finish second. So I think, like I said, let's just keep it going here. Yes, Profar played for the Braves. Very good. Country roads at the World Cup. It's been enjoyable. The immersion of American culture into the World Cup, and you've got the people singing country roads and just having a good time. I was on I was on Mornings Without Richard Cross earlier this week, and got to talk about some of the cool stuff from social media of these Europeans. I was part of a viral tweet yesterday. I didn't know I was going to be part of it. I was the guy who has the first response to the viral tweet, so I kind of got some. But those German guys who have been making their way across, they stopped somewhere in Texas and they were given a pair of like $600 or $700 ostrich skin cowboy boots. And I just asked, I was like, how much would those boots normally cost? And I mean, every Texan in the world was like, that's about a $700 pair of boots. I was like, oh, okay. I got like 50 responses. I was like, I just needed one. So, yeah, it's been really fun to do that. They to me look like they've practiced together. That's a good point, though. I mean, and also I don't think we should underestimate. We didn't talk about it. Pulisic did not play today. You know, the top player on the roster didn't play today. As we saw, he got pulled out of the game early last Friday. And, all week it was kind of he's all right, isn't he? He's all right. And then today they announced, no, he's not going to be able to go. And they didn't miss a beat without him. And I thought that Weston McKennie stepped up, played some good football. I did say something funny on Twitter that said, if you lose to America in soccer, you are required to call it soccer for a year. Like that should be the rule.
That's a pretty good
Imagine if we beat the English and they're over there having to say soccer on the Premier League. Like, oh my gosh,
whole country for the whole.
It would be
the
worst thing ever. It'd be the worst thing ever if something like that were to happen.
Are we the only country that calls it?
Pretty much.
Does Canada call it? Because Canada's another country that has football.
It's sort of like Canada calls it football, I think. They have Canadian football, but I think they also call it football.
That's got to be confusing.
And then you also, we're like the only country that says pineapple, too. So,
What do they call it?
Everything else is like some version of anana. French,
really?
German, Spanish. Yeah, we're the only ones that say pineapple. Hey, you know what? We're America. You don't like it?
Yeah.
Come get a taste. All right, when we come back.
We can do whatever we want.
I thought mine was bad. Yours is really bad. When we come back, Wilson Alexander, great reporter. Not the fake news, the real news on 3 Sports. College football when we come back. Back in just a minute here on Sports Talk Mississippi.
I feel good.
From the Venable Glass.
Come on. Are we going to do this?
Back to Sports Talk Mississippi.
Keep rolling. 3, 2, 1.
Super Talk Mississippi.
Back here on Sports Talk Mississippi. Brian Haydad here with you on a Friday afternoon. Let's go to the Farm Bureau guest line for the first time today. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. Wilson Alexander covers college football for our friends over at On3. And Wilson, let's do a big question to start. Who's going to be the most improved team in the SEC this year?
Ooh, that's an interesting one that I hadn't given a whole heck of a lot of thought to. But, okay, let's think through this real quick. If you got to be the most improved team, you maybe have to start sort of fairly far down
in
order to move up. I think LSU probably fits that description.
Ooh.
I know people in Mississippi might not like hearing that, but I mean, with what they brought in offensively, if they can actually, have any sort of pulse on offense, and go from a team that was, very, very mediocre to maybe in the college football playoff discussion, and that might qualify. I'm trying to think of who else would maybe fall into that.
I'll tell you my answer, and you tell me what you think. I think it's Florida. I think Florida goes from 4 wins to being maybe on the periphery of the college football playoff. Not in, but one of those teams that late in the season you're saying, hey, if they went out, they could get in. I really like the Gators, and I like John Sumrall a lot.
That's not a bad pick. Yeah, I mean, he's a great coach, and if they can just play a cleaner brand of football to start with than some of the boneheaded things that they were doing in the Billy Napier area, that'd be a good start. And like you said, with 4 wins, if you can just get to 8-4, that's a fairly good swing there in the SEC. So that's not a bad pick either. I also wonder, what do you think about, can Mississippi State fall into that? I like their quarterback.
I like the quarterback. I like Taylor a lot. I don't see a huge jump for them this year. That's just me. I think that because I just don't buy into Levy. I'll just be honest with you. I just think he as a head coach isn't great. And I think, you look at last year, I thought some of the decisions he made were the reason State didn't win some of those close games that they had a chance to win. And so until I see some improvement from that, I'm going to say no to a massive improvement for Mississippi State. Let's go the other route. Let's go the other way with this. There were 4 SEC teams in the playoff this past season: Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. Who's the most likely to not be back there this year?
Let's see. I'm going to go with Alabama.
Yeah,
as the most likely to not be back out of those teams. I think Ole Miss has got a great shot to return. I think Georgia's got a great shot to return, as they've shown in the Kirby Smart era. Oklahoma, defensively, I think they'll be solid as long as, they have that same defensive staff in place. And if John Mateer is actually healthy throughout the season, then maybe there's a good chance for them. But Alabama, has not been super impressive in the Kalen DeBoer era. And now you got a quarterback change coming in, got to replace a first-round pick. And even though it might be, Ty Simpson may be a little bit like, in a different draft, is he still a first-rounder? Maybe not. Still, that's where he ended up going this past year. And then you have really something unproven there at quarterback, unless one of those guys in either Mack or Russell's the answer. I don't think Alabama out of those 4 they'd be the one I would say that probably doesn't get back. I really don't know what they've got on the offensive line either.
I think that one of the more intriguing teams this year is Auburn. They just we talked about this a couple months ago. Me and Borky were talking about it. It catches you off guard when you realize that Auburn has the longest streak of losing seasons in the SEC right now. I think it would be Arkansas. You think it would be Mississippi State. It's not. It's Auburn. They haven't finished above 500 since Gus Malzahn left. And new coach, new system, new a lot of things down there on the plains. What do you think of the Auburn Tigers this year?
Well, there's sort of another case study of if you bring over a lot from a G5 school, can it translate? And can it translate in the SEC? They should be a little bit copy and paste from USF, especially on the offensive side with Brown there at quarterback coming with Alex Golesh from USF. But, is he going to be – he did some great things at G5 levels. He's going to be able to do that over the course of an SEC season. Are they going to be improved outside of that overall? I just don't know. And also, I haven't looked close enough at the Auburn schedule to remember it off the top of my head and know kind of what they're going to be dealing with in their schedule as well, because obviously that would play a factor.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, actually. Auburn is a team that, because they are one of the 5 road SEC game teams, they also have the neutral site game with Baylor, so they only have 6 home games this year.
And I think that they should probably win that Baylor game.
Yeah.
Baylor under Dave Aranda has been regressing in recent years. They should probably win that. But otherwise, you start looking for wins on the schedule. There's probably no gimmies for Auburn this year. Outside of maybe a couple.
So let's get outside of the SEC for just a minute, and let's talk about the Big Ten. I think that Ohio State is obviously far and away the favorite there. Who's the second best team this year? Is it still Oregon? Can Whittingham coming to Michigan elevate them a little bit? Does Campbell going to Penn State elevate them a little bit? I guess it's Oregon, but if you had to make a strong case for somebody else, who would it be?
Be going with Indiana. The reigning national
what am I doing?
You let me come right in there. You didn't even mention the Hoosiers.
That's on me. Do you know what that is, though?
Even my number 1.
You know what that is? That's me being an old man and just still my brain refusing to accept that Indiana is one of the best teams in college football. That's a total miss by me, but yes, you're correct.
Hey, you got to Google them, man. You got to Google them.
Don't let Signetti know I did that. Don't tell him.
Right. I think it's Indiana would be one. They'd be number 2 behind Ohio State in that scenario, or maybe even still number 1. Mm-hmm. Ohio State over the past 2 years has lost a lot from that national championship team. They recruit so well that surely they're going to have talent, but some of it is unproven in some spots. They've got the best player in the country in Jeremiah Smith. Julian Sayin as a second-year quarterback. There's certainly a lot to like with the Buckeyes, but Indiana over the past 2 years under Curt Cignetti has just been so impressive. They're so well coached. They're always in the right spot, making the right plays. They're not going to out-talent you necessarily, but they're always so well prepared, and that can win a lot of football games, and it clearly has. And now you bring in Josh Hoover, a quarterback from TCU, it's going to be fascinating to see if he can cut down on the interceptions a little bit, be a little bit more dynamic. And if so, then, Indiana can probably keep rolling. And I'd say, Oregon certainly has a case for being the number 2 team as well. But some of those others like Penn State, Michigan, with the coaching changes, I don't trust them enough yet.
Who's a good team, Brian? Oh, the defending national champions? They're good? That's my bad. What about the ACC? Sort of the same question there. I think Miami is what everybody has an eye on. Who's the second best team there?
My mind kind of goes to SMU. You got Kevin Jennings at quarterback again. They took a step back last year after getting to the playoff, but Rhett Lashley and maybe SMU is the second best team in the ACC. And I'm trying to think about who else would be in that conversation. It feels like there's just such a large gap between Miami and everybody else in that league going into this season. I could be wrong. Is there somebody you think I'm missing?
Well, I was going to say Louisville would be another one I would think of.
Yeah, maybe.
That's a team.
I'm not buying all the Louisville stock yet.
So you're telling me week 1, Sunday night, Ole Miss versus Louisville, the Rebels will coast to victory in that one?
I would be taking the Rebels, yes.
There you go. I would as well.
I don't know about coast yet. Got to let things play out for the next few months, but I would definitely take Ole Miss in that game.
We only got a couple minutes left, and I'm sure you thought, man, maybe Haydad's going to let me get out of here without talking about Lane Kiffin. Nope, no chance. We're going to have to do at least one Lane Kiffin question. Came out this week, and after trying to maybe temper down expectations, it's a process kind of thing. Talked about we're going to win a national championship. Didn't say this year, obviously, but he's embracing those expectations a little bit. What is the real live expectation at LSU this year?
The real expectation, I think, for anybody reasonable around here, and that's sometimes hard to find, especially in an era when people expect instant success, is making the playoff in year 1. And that feels like a little bit like, whoa, because, they've been so far from that the past few years. But LSU, with the investment that it has made, that comes with expectations. When you hire a coach who as sort of famous for as long as he has been in Lane Kiffin, it comes with that as well. And when you're LSU, just in general, they're always expecting to be in that conversation. But now, with a lot of things that they've brought in the portal, the expectation is really to make the playoffs. To make a run, I don't think that anybody's necessarily going to the season expecting that or even expecting a national championship or anything like that. But LSU really, really wants to be in the playoff hunt and then actually be playing some meaningful games late in the season and in December. I think that would be the expectation for this first season.
And then we'll play the negative Nelly here, I guess, a little bit. But if they don't reach that expectation, is Kiffin going to be in a hot seat in year 1? No, nothing like that. But what has to happen in year 2 if year 1 expectations aren't met?
In year 2, they would have to get into the playoff. Because, Lane Kiffin, he's got a 7-year contract. It's, fully guaranteed. Like, they're not going to be any sort of, firings of Lane Kiffin within the first 3 to 4 years of his deal at LSU. But they, if he's not able to live up to expectations within the first couple of seasons, then you start to wonder about, okay, does donor support continue? Do they still have the money that they've had? Because this roster is, I think you and I talked about before, costs at least $40 million, if not more than that. And so, does those sort of things continue? Are they able to sustain that kind of investment if they aren't winning? It will be kind of the big question going into year 2, year 3. But if in year 1 they don't make the playoffs, but they at least show a lot of improvement, then I think people will still again be like, all right, now this is the year that they've got to make it. At least that would be, I think, the tenor around Baton Rouge.
Wilson Alexander from On3 Sports, man, always appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. Y'all have a great weekend.
Wilson joins us on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. We'll stay on the guest line. When we come back, we'll talk Ole Miss baseball with Chase Parham of Rebels 24/7.
From the Seabrook.com. Come on, SuperTalk Mississippi. Check this out. Are you ready? Yeah. Sports Talk Mississippi.
Back on Sports Talk Mississippi. Brian Haydad here with you on a Friday afternoon in the Pearl River Resort Studios. Back to the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. Chase Parham joins the show from Rebels 24/7. A man who knows more about Ole Miss baseball than I know about just about anything. What's going on, Chase?
Hey, Dad, how are you? Having a good day.
I'm good. Glad you were able to join me today. I'm not going to lie to you. You were, I don't know what you were doing. You had your notifications silenced, and I gave you some time, and I was like, I don't think he's going to get back with me. So I reached out to 2 other people, and then right before I was going to accept someone else, you were like, oh, yeah, I could do it. And I was like, good.
Just in the nick of time. Hey,
so, yeah, right you got in under the wire there. So we're glad to have you.
Good.
Let's talk about this Ole Miss baseball team. Just looking at them from my lens, which is obviously less clear than yours, it feels like a team that's going to look really, really different next year in terms of the lineup and in terms of the pitching rotation. How much does this Ole Miss team need to get done in the portal?
They've got to get a lot done in the portal, and they've got to get it done in pretty much every way. When you look at it, there's only 3 guaranteed starters back from a position player standpoint. You know you got Owen Pano back at shortstop. You know you have Dom Decker at second base, and you know you have Hayden Federico wherever they choose to play him, I assume, center field. Mm-hmm. You might get Austin Foley back at catcher, but you might not. He's been in college baseball now for 4 years. He could go pro. He's one of the best receiving catchers in the country. And then you've had a good bit of turnover. Braden Randall jumping into the portal here in the last couple days. He just kind of got sandwiched out of a spot. He wants to play in the middle infield. Ole Miss does not have that availability, and he's going to get paid. Somebody's going to pay him an amount of money in the NIL game to play in the middle infield, and that will be more than he gets at Ole Miss, whatever that option would have been. You know, and that new team will hope that he is able to reproduce what he did in the postseason, which far exceeded what he did in the regular season. But Ole Miss has got to replace a lot there. You losing Judd Utermark, Will Furnace, Tristan Becerra, names that everybody across the state knows, and then it's possible you're losing all 3 rotation pieces. Hunter Elliott has a year of eligibility remaining, but most do not believe he will use that final year. And then Cade Townsend and Taylor Ray both have the ability or the possibility of being first-round picks come the draft next month. So, yeah, really new, really different. And I'll give you one that's a phenomenon right now for Ole Miss is they've had 2 young pitchers jump into the portal. It's Blake Illich, who didn't play, and then Noah Allen, who was, I thought, pretty good in a small number of innings. And then 2 of their additions are Charlie Wilcox out of Georgia Tech and Maverick Rizzi out of LSU, 2 guys who, again, played a little bit, not a ton, young guys. What we're seeing here, and you'll get this because being a baseball guy, is that fall baseball suddenly matters. Mm-hmm. We're getting these first impressions of these guys, and then they're either not playing or playing early on in their freshman seasons. And if they don't play, they're jumping in the portal. But then what you're doing, for any team, is going into the portal and finding those same exact guys at another school and going, hey, they didn't get a lot of early innings, but they got all this talent. We're going to fix this one little mechanical thing, and they're going to be big-time innings eaters for us next season. You're essentially replacing and adding the same exact prospect and just hoping that you're the one that has it figured out.
I was going to ask about this guy a little later, but since you brought him up, Braden Randall hitting the portal from Ole Miss. Mississippi State is supposed to get a visit from Randall. Could possibly end up, switching sides in this rivalry here. What kind of player would Mississippi State be getting if he were to come to Starkville?
It depends where he plays, and it depends which Braden Randall you're getting. Look, He was a fantastic hitter in the postseason. He was Ole Miss's most complete hitter in the postseason, and he's one of the reasons they ended up in Omaha. He's also a guy that didn't start a game between April 28th and May 30th. For most of the regular season, he was hitting around 200, 210. He's not a big guy, and basically he was using too much launch angle. He was dropping a hip, trying to hit the ball at the ballpark. It's not his profile. And maybe more than any player I've seen in recent memory, he just switched his offensive profile in the middle of the year. Suddenly he starts hitting line drives. He starts hitting hard ground balls and doing the things that his stature really is necessary to compete at the college level. And he's been very good. He played left field in the Super Regional in Omaha. He was okay out there. It was the first time that he had been in the outfield since 14U, he told us, during the Super Regional against Auburn, but he's an athlete. But the question is where you're going to put him. He can't stick at shortstop every day. He doesn't have the arm strength. He can play it. He's not going to kill you, but he's not going to be elite there. And he really doesn't want to play in the outfield. He wants to be an infielder. It's one of the reasons why he's leaving Ole Miss. So you're talking about second. You're talking about short. You're talking about some utility stuff. I think for the right role, he's a very valuable piece for an SEC program, but I think you have a hard time trying to figure out probably what he's about to require in the NIL game and then where to play him on a day-to-day level. I have no idea what State's thinking, but that's kind of my thought as he's leaving Ole Miss.
Now, State's got a spot at second base where I think they want to have some competition, so my guess is that would be there.
He can play second base all day. There's no doubt about that.
Let's take the focus back to Ole Miss. 3 guys already lined up in the portal for the Rebels. Tell us about these guys. A couple of pitchers and then looks like a big bat out of Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, Louisiana Tech, Trey Halsey, he's the most plug-and-play guy that Ole Miss has picked up so far. He should step in for Will Furness. Halsey has pretty good K-walk numbers. Ole Miss has got to get far better at that. They struck out way too much this year, leading the world, basically, in strikeouts from a major college level. Halsey also hit over 300. He had 15 home runs. It's a really good pickup for Ole Miss. And then they're pretty excited about Eli Pillsbury, Jacksonville State starter. Got really good metrics. I think for him, he got banged around 2 or 3 times, and it looks like some mechanical inconsistencies that I do believe Joel Mangrum will be able to shore up there for the Rebels. So I think that's a big-time piece. And then the 2 guys that I mentioned a second ago that I think are valuable, it's Charlie Wilcox from Georgia Tech and Maverick Rizzi for LSU. Throw really hard, huge prospects out of high school, and for whatever reason just didn't work out in their initial seasons at Georgia Tech and LSU, respectively. And for Ole Miss, it's about trying to fix that. They'd love for Rizzi to be that bridge guy that comes in maybe the 6th and pitches the 6th, 7th, and 8th, comes in the 5th and does the 5th to 7th, that kind of thing. He's 6'9", which is a good thing as long as you're being consistent with your mechanics. But there's a lot that can go wrong when you're 6'9" at the same time. So those 2 guys are projects but have potential. And then maybe the biggest kind of project of all, this is one that's been a bit of a head scratcher. They picked up Brent Stoops from USC Upstate, and he had an ERA over 5 for Upstate, but I talked to some people. He's got a really low arm angle. They think that he picks up velocity, and essentially what they're saying is he was not developed very well at USC Upstate compared to an SEC program. That as he picks up some miles per hour, it's going to increase those spin rates. It's going to make it where he really plays well to the top of the strike zone with his fastball. So, what you're seeing so far for Ole Miss is they are finding pieces they like and certain pitches they like or certain things. And then playing, I don't want to call it money ball because they're spending a lot of money in the portal relative to the country. Obviously, every SEC school is outside of Missouri. However, they are very much trying to put a lineup together and a rotation and a depth piece together in the bullpen that makes sense. And then it sounds like they've got Brady Dallimore. He hasn't committed yet. It's TCU's catcher. Played some first base. He was all Big 12 freshman this year. And, look, it's a security blanket. I don't know if they're getting Foley back, if they're not getting Foley back, but you kind of can't get caught with your pants down.
Right.
And he's a guy that could play multiple spots, and he could be a very valuable bat and catcher for Ole Miss if needs next year. So they need to lock that one up because that one's pretty big. But, look, they need arms. It's going to be a completely retooled pitching staff because you really are only guaranteed to have back maybe Will Libbert and Walker Hooks at this point.
Well, one of the arms they're in on is a guy that coming out of the portal had a lot of SEC interest, and that's Louisiana Tech's right-hander Thomas Allen. I'm surprised Lane Burrow is letting these guys visit Oxford as much as we know about that rivalry. But this is a kid who he can throw the baseball. Really good freshman All-American. What are the Rebels' chances to land this guy? And is this a guy who you could see competing to be a rotation guy next year?
Yeah, he's definitely a rotation guy if he comes in. He's going to visit Ole Miss early next week, so we'll see after the visit, after all, they sit down and talk, possibilities and money and the whole deal that we do now because it's just the world we live in.
Yeah.
Look, I give Ole Miss a 40 to 60% chance on him, somewhere in there. I'm not going to go 80, 90 and say it's done by any means. The big thing for Ole Miss is just making sure you get to the visit without him going ahead and making a decision for that. If he actually shows up in Oxford next week, I like their chances. They've been helped out a little bit. Oklahoma is one of the finalists, and obviously Oklahoma is still playing college baseball right now. They're in the final that starts tomorrow against North Carolina, and look, if there is a positive to going 0-2, it's that Ole Miss was able to get back home, get some of these visit schedules, because Carl Lafferty, their recruiting coordinator, he was flying back and forth from Omaha to Oxford during their days in the College World Series to conduct visits, try to get back for games. Hey, Dad, we just have a really stupid calendar right now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Hey, we got a question here for you from the C Spire text line. Will Cole Prosick arrive on the Ole Miss campus?
Cole Prosick will almost assuredly not arrive on the Ole Miss campus. The Mag Heights superstar, he's great. He's awesome, and he's about to get paid like he is awesome. I think he's probably a top 30 to 60 pick, somewhere in there. I'm not sure he gets grabbed in the first round, but I do think he gets grabbed high enough to skip Oxford. That's the big thing for Ole Miss right now. They're probably going to lose 2. They're going to lose him. They're going to lose Taj Marchand, who is the player of the year in the state of South Carolina. The key is don't lose anybody else. Those are 2 humongous blows, especially with Prosick. It's a guy that Ole Miss thought he wouldn't develop to this level until he got in Oxford. and that they'd be able to kind of steal him before he took that next step. But he took it early. He's going to go pro. Kind of reminds me of Cooper Pratt a little bit. Talking about another Mac Heights guy when you think about that doesn't end up at Ole Miss. But for Ole Miss, it's lose those two and hope you can hang on to the rest of the class.
Chase, man, really appreciate your time today. This was information I could not have given to anybody, so I needed you for it. Have a great weekend, man. Have a great Father's Day.
Thank you. Great to talk to you, bud. Later.
Chase Parham, Rebels 24/7, joins us on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. We're staying in the region for our next team for 100 Teams in 100 Days, a place almost everybody who's listening, I assume, has been at least one time. We'll talk about it when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi. We'll get the 5 o'clock hour started in just a few minutes.
From the Venable Glass.
Let the broadcasting of the disturbed continue.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Super Talk Mississippi.
Back on Sports Talk Mississippi. Let's go back to the 100 Teams in 100 Days. Team number 70. Great number, by the way. The Memphis Tigers. I'm not a big fan of Memphis, but that's an elite fight zone.
That is a good place.
It's very, very good. The Liberty Bowl. Somehow, simultaneously, the hottest and coldest place to watch a college football game in America. You go the first week of the season, and, buddy, look, let me tell you, the closest I've ever gotten in my life to taking off my shirt in a public place was a week 1 game, Mississippi State at Memphis. We were on row 1. And if the temperature on the field was 120, well, then where I was sitting, it was 118, buddy. And dumb Brian wore maroon. Couldn't be bothered to wear a white polo that day, Brian. But
I had a similar experience.
Yeah.
The first time I went, I had a media pass. I was on the sidelines. This was Ed Orgeron's years.
Yeah.
And who do I spot on the sidelines? John Daly.
Oh, he had to be sweating.
But he's not the one that was sweating. It was his then wife.
Oh, God.
Who was wearing purple pleather pants.
She's lucky to be alive.
How she didn't pass out, I have no idea.
I bet when she took those things off, it was like a
just peeled them.
Yeah, just geez Louise. Memphis 9-4 a season ago. 8-5. They were looking like a team that was going to be the Group of 5 playoff team. They were 8-1. They had a great win over Arkansas, but then they finished the year with some tough teams, and they lost all of these games to Tulane, East Carolina, Navy, and then they lose the Gasparilla Bowl where they get blown out by North Carolina State. So they went from 8-1 to 8-5, and normally a coach does that and he gets into trouble. Well, that's exactly what happened because Ryan Silverfield did get into trouble. Now he's the coach at Arkansas. I would define that as trouble. So who's the coach at Memphis? Now it's our friend Charles Huff. He gets to start the year off on August 29th against Dan Mullen's UNLV. So a former MSU head coach and maybe the future Mississippi State head coach. Go head-to-head right there. Oh, yeah, Charles Huff. I know him. Arkansas State at Boise State, UT Martin at Charlotte, UAB, one of my favorite rivalries, the Battle of the Bones. The trophy is a slab of ribs. Huge fan of that. At Tulane, East Carolina comes to Memphis. Army comes to Memphis. At South Florida, at Navy, and they'll finish the year with Temple. The top-rated restaurant, TripAdvisor said it was BB King's. I'm like, absolutely not. That's not for the food. I know what's going on there. Is a restaurant I've heard of, but I've never eaten at. I've wanted to go there. It's called Flight. And I've heard great things about it because they have a very unique concept, Will. You can order a steak. They have like 3 steaks on the menu, right? Or you can order a flight of steaks. You get 3 smaller steaks. So what it is so here, let's say right here, they have the seafood flight. For shrimp, you can get shrimp and grits as a small plate, an entree, and they also have a lobster crab benedict and then a diver sea scallop. So you can order the entree, which is like $40, or for $48 you get a flight and you get all 3. And they have a seafood flight, a steak, it's called the butcher's flight. Then they have a steak flight, which is actually 3 different animals. It's a filet, an elk tenderloin, and a bison ribeye. That's probably really good. They have a Field and Farm, which is a chicken and waffles, lamb chop, and a fried quail with andouille cornbread stuffing and tasso ham gravy. Buddy, I want to go eat here. And then they have a fish flight, which is not, I guess, is different from the seafood flights. No, there's no shellfish; it's actually just fish. And then they have dessert flights. They have a chocolate flight, traditional dessert flight, and the southern flight, Memphis Belle pie. It's like a chocolate pecan pie, banana pudding, and an apple walnut cobbler.
We should be doing more flights of stuff.
You get a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Why lock into one steak when you can have three different awesome things?
Yeah.
This is a great concept. I need to go eat at this place. I've heard good things about it. Some friends of mine I know have eaten there. We're getting some people on the C Spire text line. They say Flight is top shelf. Flight is the best restaurant I've ever been to anywhere ever, and that's ever, anywhere, ever. Flight is our favorite restaurant. If you can't get a reservation, call Smitty in Oxford. Smitty, you've been put on the...
Smitty.
I know Smitty. Smitty's a great listener to this show. Flight is excellent. You got to go, hey, Dad. 2000 versus Memphis. First game my freshman year in a full band uniform. We had a bunch of band kids hitting the deck that game. I've heard that story. Yeah, I brought a bottle of water, one of those like liter bottles of water into the game. I drank it, and I filled it up like 4 times. I never went to the bathroom once. I just sweated it out. It was unbelievable. It was so hot, Will.
Dude, I remember, I was with my brother.
Yeah.
Somehow I got him a media pass, and I was like, let's go to the box up there. They'll have AC. We got up there. You couldn't get, it was like a concert. You couldn't get in there. Everybody had the same idea.
The air conditioning?
Yeah. He was like, we finally found a fan, like one of those big,
State fans who went to the 1991 Liberty Bowl will tell you that's the coldest game. I mean, it's like going to Lambeau Field in the middle of December. I don't understand how the Liberty Bowl is the hottest and coldest place on earth at the same time. It's like the South Pole and the Sahara Desert in one place.
Get carjacked out in the parking lot.
That's a story for another time. Memphis, team number 70 on the countdown in 100 days. We'll have a nice team on Monday, but we will be into the 60s. We are getting closer and closer to the start of the college football season. Speaking of that, the college football fix. When we come back, we'll talk some more about our favorite sport. And then a top 5 I think we're really going to enjoy. Looking forward to that. Back in just a minute. We'll start the 5 o'clock hour here on SportsTalk Mississippi.
Here we go. Sports Talk Mississippi. Here's more. Super Talk Mississippi.
We're off to a fast start in Boston Stadium. Morocco scores in the second minute. They lead Scotland 1-0. That game is just getting underway. So hill to climb for the Highlanders of Scotland. We'll see how they turn up. Sports Talk Mississippi. I'm Brian Haydad. Will East is in Studio X. We're in the Pearl River Resort Studios, and it's time for the College Football Fix. The College Football Fix is driven by your Mississippi Ford dealers. Built Ford Tough. That's the best-selling truck in America. The Ford F-150. If you're looking to buy a new truck right now, don't waste anybody's time. Don't waste anybody's money. You know where to go. Go see your Mississippi Ford dealers today. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Hey, before we get started, one quick question about Morocco. Do they play the maracas?
I don't believe so. That's
do the Scottish, do they wear kilts out there on the
Their fans do. Their fans do. We could have a really nuanced discussion about why kilts are like maybe superior to pants, but that's probably for another day. I'm just saying, like they look. It looks very comfortable. I'll just say that. I'm not saying I want to cross dress. I'm just saying that it looks comfortable.
Is there something you want to tell us there, buddy?
There's nothing I want to tell you. I'm saying, it's crazy. Like if you see a man in a dress, you're like. If you see a guy in a kilt, you're like, that's awesome. It's really funny how that works. All right. Yesterday on the show, our top 5 was underrated players of all time at Mississippi State and Ole Miss. So I thought, hey, let's bring that here today. I don't need to do 5, but let's do a couple of each of somebody currently on the roster for State and Ole Miss that maybe they're flying under the radar a little bit. Maybe they're not getting the attention that they're due, however you want to put it. Will, who's the first guy you've got for Ole Miss?
Underrated? Because they, he doesn't get the attention that probably he should, and this is a little bit of a proximity bias. But William Eccles.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I get it. The Houston guy.
All right. Chickasaw County people got to stick together.
I understand.
All right? Yeah, so whenever I can tout him, guess what?
Yeah,
I'm going to tout him.
I got
and
you.
yes, he is mentioned, but he's not mentioned, because you have so many other stars there.
I think for
and
Ole
Suntarine
Miss,
Perkins has been there. He was the 5-star guy. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, William Eccles was recruited as an offensive lineman, maybe defensive lineman. Which way is he going to go? Mississippi State obviously heavily recruited him.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're on the defensive line like he is, you sometimes get lost with the guys who, the Wemmy Ellens who come in and get all the sacks.
Yeah. I think part of it is Ole Miss just has such a reputation as an offensive team.
That's another part of it.
That everybody, like their stars, everybody kind of gravitates to the quarterbacks, the running backs that they've had, the wide receivers they've had in the past. And, they've been some great defensive players at Ole Miss. But even think about a couple years ago, did Walter Nolan really get the respect that he deserved? That guy was the dominant force in every game that he played, but everybody was focused on Dart and on Trey Harris and trying to focus on Bentley. But that's a good one. William Eccles is an outstanding football player. If he has a monster season this year, which he's very capable of doing, he could end up being a first-round pick. Has just been really, really good for the Rebels in the middle of that defense. That's a good choice. I'll stay on defense for Mississippi State. A guy that I think, I talked yesterday about Buki Watson and the numbers that he and Jet Johnson put up in Zach Arnett's system. That is a system that feeds tackles to linebackers. And Zachary Tillman is a guy I've been a fan of since he arrived here. I think he's a good athlete. I think he was put in some tough situations these past couple of years because State didn't have any protection in front of him. One of the things State went out and did is they recruited a guy from the portal, Dalen Evans from Texas A&M, a big 300-plus pound nose guard who can maybe eat up some blockers and free up the linebackers. But this system gives linebackers a lot of opportunities, and Tillman's going to get that first crack playing the role that Buki Watson did. And I think he's going to be a 100-plus tackle guy for Mississippi State. I don't know if he can have the same impact as a pass rusher that Buki Watson did, where he led the SEC in sacks his senior year. But if he can, that's going to be a huge plus for Mississippi State. Zachary Tillman, a Mississippi kid, I think he has a chance to be a really, really good linebacker for the Bulldogs. Who else you got from Oxford that we're not paying enough attention to?
I would say Caleb Odom.
Okay.
Tight end, he's transferred from Alabama, and DeQuan Wright was obviously the man last year.
Yeah.
And so you saw a little bit of Odom, but it was obviously, with all those playmakers, the ball can only be thrown to so many. So I wonder, with DeQuan Wright now gone, is Odom the guy to step up for that tight end position, which in that type of offense that they're going to be running, once again, it's going to be a continuation of what Lane had, if he'll be the guy now that DeQuan Wright was the past 2 years, really.
This offense, this Ole Miss, this style of offense, whatever you want to call it, veer and shoot or whatever you want to say, the Kiffin tree, Kiffin, Levy, Weiss, and now Baker. When it's clicking, the tight end is a huge piece
part
of it. And I say it all the time. Like, I can't tell you how many times watching Ole Miss with Prieskorn, Kenny Yeboah, and Daquan Wright, where they would throw the ball to him, and you're watching the game on television. There's nobody else on the TV screen. Mm-hmm. It's just him, and it finds a way to scheme that up. So that's and this is a guy, as you mentioned, he's a 5-star wide receiver coming out of high school. He's an outstanding athlete. It's just about, can he find the nuances of the tight end position? So could be you're right, could be a very underrated.
DeQuan Wright was that guy who was just like, where's the guy that's supposed to be on him?
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've asked that question watching an Ole Miss football game. Like, who's covering the tight end? Somebody had to have that responsibility.
And there's no better image or video of that than the LSU game last year. He was on that final play, where he just slid down because the game was over.
Right.
Nobody
within
Caleb Odom
10 yards on him. Yeah. There you go. I'll switch over to offense. as well. I'm going to give you a guy that I think is going to be a big player for Mississippi State this year. I don't even know if he's underrated. He's just not well known yet because he hasn't had his opportunity. But you know that in this day and age, a guy that's recruited out of high school and is still there 3 years later and hasn't played much is very rare. I mean, you get guys who come in, they play early, they stay. That's one thing. You're talking about a guy who's had to develop and take his time. Very rare. Sanfrisco McGee, another Mississippi kid from Macomb, Mississippi. You know, when he was part of that group of receivers that State recruited, and now they're all gone, right? You know, Stalka Burnside is off to Memphis, and I believe J.J. Harrell is at Arkansas State now. And, you know, but McGee has toughed it out. And, you know, when you look at State's receiving core, Anthony Evans is a very prototypical slot receiver. Marquise Johnson, Zion Ragens, Grayson Harris, those guys, they're smaller guys with speed. They're the guys who can do stuff down the field. Who's going to work underneath for Mississippi State? Who's going to be the red zone guy? Who's the guy who can, you know, be the physical wide receiver? I think that's where Sanfrisco McGee is going to be. You know, I was hoping a year ago that was going to end up being Aiden Williams, but for whatever reason with Williams, it just never really clicked for him. This is his last opportunity, you know, as a senior. We'll see what happens. But I think McGee could be a big player for State. He had a big touchdown catch in the bowl game, and I just feel like he has an opportunity to be with State, year one under Levy, you had one receiver with a lot of catches. Last year you had two. Maybe this is the year you finally get three guys who can split up the catches a little bit. And if that's going to be Sanfrisco McGee, could he be a 50-catch, 600-yard guy, 5 or 6 touchdowns, and just bring he brings something that the other receivers don't have, which is that physicality. So that's somebody I'm keeping an eye on. I think he could have a big year for Mississippi State. Are we leaving anybody out for Ole Miss? You got anybody else?
I would just go with Lucas Canero, because in college, that kicker, and you got one of the best. And they don't get the publicity, they don't get any of that, but they're usually your top scorer. Mm-hmm. And it was clear that Lane wanted to take him to LSU.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And also, I believe Oscar Bird, if I'm not mistaken, the punter. But I think, that guy has got ice water in his veins. Go back and look at the Georgia game in the college football playoff last year. He's a weapon.
Yeah.
And in college football, you don't have that a whole lot of
college kickers is a thing that gets tweeted a lot for a reason. Yeah.
I mean, you got some coaches issues who could have put a whole lot of extra W's. Bobby Bowden, I'm looking at you. If they would have had a good kicker. So.
This guy on the text line. This is Pete's offense. I don't know why you keep saying Lane-style offense. Let's shine a little more on the man who stuck around rather than left. Pete coaches the defense, guy. Baker coached under Kiffin. It's the Kiffin, Levy, Veer, and it's really the Briles style of offense. Nobody's taking anything away from Golding. The sensitivity is off the charts here. You got to leave this Lane stuff in the past. They play them this year, buddy. I got to continue to talk about it. So, I was also going to mention State's kicker, Kyle Ferry. I think two of the best kickers in the SEC this year might be here in the state of Mississippi. All right, when we come back, it's top 5 time. Get ready to hit us on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Top 5 most dominant SEC wins for State and Ole Miss. Preferably ones you've seen live, but if not, I'll settle for it. Back in just a minute. Sports Talk Mississippi.
From the Venable Glass Track.
Here comes more Sports Talk Mississippi.
You ready, guys?
On Super Talk Mississippi.
Back on Sports Talk Mississippi. Genteel Apparel is the official apparel provider of Sports Talk Mississippi. If it can make Will East and Brian Haydad look good, what could it do for you? Father's Day is here. It's probably a little late. I don't think they can ship it to you. Don't look at me like that. Neither one of us are supermodels. But that being said, GentileApparel.com. If you just tell Dad you ordered it, he'll accept it. Dads aren't like moms. If you just tell us it's on the way, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Dad, I got you.
Doesn't have to be there immediately.
Dad, you blame it on them. It's like, hey, Dad, I ordered this like a week ago. They just haven't shipped it yet. Okay, no problem. Appreciate it. Get your dad a great polo from Gentile Apparel, gentileapparel.com, the collegiate collection. Get him ready for game day with Gentile Apparel. All right, top 5 most dominant wins by Mississippi State and by Ole Miss, SEC only. And I think both of us made a point to avoid Vanderbilt.
We eschewed
Vanderbilt. So, Willis, number 5. You said I would like your number 5.
I think you will. I don't know if you know this, but on a certain day of the year this year, Lane Kiffin and Ed Orgeron are coming to town.
Uh-huh.
You know what? I remember the first time that happened.
Yeah.
In 2009.
It's controlling the ball, converting third downs, and keeping them off the field.
Breakaway, McCluster, watch out, 50, at the 40, McCluster, one man to beat, cuts, 20, 15, 10, McCluster, goodbye, touchdown!
Oh, I remember when Lane Kiffin, Ed Orgeron, they got worn out by 5'3", maybe actually 5'9", Dexter McCluster to the tune of, I think it was 323 yards, something like that, all-purpose yards. Killed them. They could not stop them. The score, not so lopsided, I guess. I mean, it's 42-17, but I just remember that game. And by the way, my list is going to be a little bit more biased towards the 2000s and closer to the Lane Kiffin era than it will be like the 1990s and stuff. Because
that's fine.
I don't remember watching all those games, and not all those games were on TV.
Mine is very modern.
Yeah, but that game right there, I just remember Dexter McCluster could not be stopped in that one.
Really, that was the best game of his career. There's no question
by
about
far.
that. So I wish I had known that we were going to do that. I would have sent you my list. I could have gotten some of my games clipped in here. For me, this was a close call. I almost didn't include this game because technically in 2018, Arkansas was really not an SEC team. They really weren't. The Chad Morris years were not good to the Hogs. But that game in Starkville, final score, Mississippi State 52, Arkansas 6. 35 carries for 69 yards the Arkansas Razorbacks rushed for. And on a day where Rakeem Boyd rushed for 84 yards, I'll let you know there were some negative plays in there. Fitzgerald, 9 for 14. Think that's not that great. Yeah, 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
4 of his 9 completions were for touchdowns. State averaged 6 yards a carry. Just complete and total domination. But again, barely an SEC team were the Arkansas Razorbacks on this one.
He never won. Chad Morris never won an SEC game, did he? I don't think he did.
No. 2-10 both years, and he won 9. He lost 4 non-conference games too.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4 for me, 2003, Ole Miss, Alabama. Ole Miss 43, Alabama 28. Now that score might not say, well, that's not that dominant, but it was 24-0 at the end of the first quarter. This was, of course, Eli Manning. They led 38-10 midway through the third quarter. Alabama had 2 late scoring drives that kind of tightened that score just a little bit, but that game was dominant from the get-go. That was so Eli Manning. It was Tay Biddle. He connected with him for a couple touchdowns early on in the first quarter. That was Mike Shula's first year.
03, yeah, I think that's
03,
right.
That was Mike Shula's first year. They had Brody Croyle at quarterback. Sean Williams was their running back. But they kept turning the ball over in that game. I just remember watching that game, and I worked at Rex TV and Appliances, Brian Haydad.
Oh, did you?
And you had like 1,000 those old projection TVs.
Yeah.
Every Saturday was always like the biggest sales day, and so we would always put on the game, and people would like come in to watch the game. Remember, this is 2003. Not every game is televised. A lot of them,
right?
So people would come in there, and they would just sit there and just watch. They wouldn't buy anything. They would just sit there and watch the game. And I remember watching that game on about 58 Sony and Hitachi big screen TVs, and it was glorious.
Very good. Very good.
All
right, we go into some real games now. 1992. I'm going back a little bit. Mississippi State 30, Florida 6. One of the first Thursday night games I remember watching, and I think maybe the first one that State ever played in. kind of a sour note in that game. That's where Sleepy Robinson hurts his knee. I think that State team would have been a lot better had he stayed healthy. But Shane Matthews came to Starkville that day as a Heisman candidate. He did not leave as one by any stretch of the imagination. And shout out to Mississippi State, by the way, for having the handwritten box score available online. Shane Matthews in that game, 17 for 38 with 5 interceptions. Not a lot of offense in this game for a team. You think you get 5 picks, you might score 50 points. It's just a different era of college football. But, Sleepy Robinson, 80 yards rushing. Kenny Roberts had 30 yards. William Prince had a long run in that game. He had 53 yards. William Prince, by the way. Shout out to William Prince. Vicksburg, Mississippi, Warren Central High School. Totally dominated. That's Spurrier, I don't know if you know this. His first 3 trips to Starkville, I think, or first 2 or 3 trips, didn't win. Could not win in Starkville for whatever reason.
I was there for one of them.
You were there for the 2000 game, yeah.
2000 game, and then I was there for the Ron Zook one.
Thought about putting that one in, but Florida did get into that game for a little while. It wasn't complete and total domination.
Is that the one where they had 2 safeties?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3rd and 57.
3rd and 57.
Yeah, that's the one that happened there. But I'll go 1992, Florida 30-6 is my number 4. What's your number 3?
Number 3, the first of 2 Egg Bowls. It will be the 2003 Egg Bowl. Ole Miss 31, Mississippi State 0. Now, this one, for some reason, in Ole Miss lore, is just kind of forgotten about because this game came on the heels of that loss against LSU. It was also Jackie Sherrill's last game.
Yes, it was.
It was also, I believe, the 100th edition of the Egg Bowl.
I believe you're correct.
This is the one that, everybody celebrates.
Pouring down rain, too.
Yeah, everybody celebrates the 2008 one where it was 45-0. Everybody celebrates that one, but the 2003 one's kind of forgotten because of that LSU thing. And if you'll remember, LSU didn't play that day because it was a Thursday game. They were playing the next day. There was a world where if they had
lost to Arkansas, Ole Miss would have
gone.
So
it was like they had to come in there and just take care of business, and Eli Manning and crew certainly did.
Destroyed them.
He was basically perfect in that game. I think he had 5 incompletions, and they were drop passes basically. So it was the 2003 100th edition of the Egg Bowl, Jackie Sherrill's very last Egg Bowl, or very last game as a head coach.
Yeah, you're right. I remember I was so ready for Jackie to go. Now, I didn't know what was coming, by the way. I had no idea it was about to get worse. But I remember staying till the end of that game just to make sure Jackie walked off the field and didn't say, you know what, never mind, I changed my mind. I was like, no, he's got to go. If I had known what was coming, I'd been like, maybe one more year will be all right. So, all right, my number 3, 1997 Auburn. Now, the score is only 20-0, but State destroyed Auburn on this day. This is the number 11 team in the country. I remember that State team. I didn't think they were anything particularly special, and then they went on a run here at the end. That Auburn team was really good. Damian Craig was the quarterback. Another huge day for the defense. Craig, 20 of 54, 270 yards, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions, one of which was returned 90 yards for a score by Anthony Derricks. I was actually at this game. State just – I did not – that's one of those – there's nothing better than a road win when you walk into the stadium and you think, we're probably not going to win today. And then not only do you win, but you control the game from start to finish, and the other team doesn't even score on their home field. That's a fantastic feeling. So that's my number.
That 97 season was kind of weird.
Very weird.
I mean, if I told you before, all right, you're going to beat Auburn at Auburn, and you're going to beat Alabama, and you'd go, whoa, hey,
great, yeah,
all right,
yeah,
all right. And then,
but then, you know who I blame for that? So State beats Auburn and Alabama.
And both on the road, by the way.
Both on the road. I was at both games. Then they had a basketball game, and they announced SEC championship game tickets go on sale. And I was just like, no, don't say it. Don't say it. Say nothing. Silence. Silence. But we all know how it finished up. That may be the most heartbreaking Egg Bowl loss. If we ever did heartbreaking losses, 97 Egg Bowl will be number 1. All right, when we come back, we'll get a number 2 and number 1 in. Plus, we'll go to the C Spire text line and read off some of the ones you guys have you're thinking about. We'll do that all when we come back. Most dominant SEC wins from Mississippi State and Ole Miss. I have a feeling, I feel really confident that I know what Willie's number 1 is.
Okay.
But I'm going to have a rebuttal to it if I am right.
I think you're going to be surprised.
Well, then I know what your number 2 is. One way or the other, I know that game is coming. I have a rebuttal to it, though.
Okay.
We'll do that when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi. About 30 minutes left on the work week. Glad you guys are with us. Back in just a minute.
From the Seabrook.
We're back here on Sports Talk Mississippi. Brian Haydad and Will East. We're talking our top 5. Top 5 most dominant SEC wins by State and Ole Miss. Will, you're at number 2. What do you got?
I got to go the 2008 Egg Bowl.
I thought you would.
It's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
It's also one of the ones where it maybe was too dominant.
I was about to say, my rebuttal is, I call that one of the biggest wins in state history.
I knew that you would.
I have always said about that game, and I really believe that if Houston Nutt could go back in time and find a way to win that game 14-13, he'd do it. Because he made it so bad that State had no choice but to fire Kroom, and they bring in Mullen, and in 3 years, Houston Nutt is gone, and Mullen's beaten him 3 straight times.
I mean, it's one of those games where you look at the stats and you just go, are they even playing the same sport? I mean, 11 sacks.
The stats don't tell you how bad that game was. They don't. And they do, but they don't.
Negative 51 rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bulldogs crossed the 50-yard line once.
Maybe.
And they have the full game on YouTube. It was a Raycom.
You got to really hate your life to watch that.
Yes. And I went back and watched parts of it. And at no point was it any, contest whatsoever. And you see the medical team for Mississippi State out on the field almost as much as the offense.
They're out there a lot.
Because Tyson Lee got knocked out twice in that game. Not once, twice.
Yeah.
And KJ Wright got hurt in that game, I believe.
Brandon McCray broke his leg, had a nasty injury in that game. I always remember that game for a number of reasons. I was at the game. I stayed until the end.
Good for you.
Well, I rode with a guy who was in the media at the time. I was not, but he was. And I've always told this story before. I was where I was standing as I'm standing, and all the Ole Miss fans are filing out. I'm like one speck of maroon and all this red and blue. And they're all, as they walk past me, they're all like, and I was just like, I would rather fight all 50,000 of you than feel your pity like this. This is ridiculous. Also,
they just felt sorry for you? Is that what you felt?
Yes, that's exactly what I felt. Also, that's the debut of Chris Relf. And as Jack Crystal said, he could throw the ball far, but it is not accurate, basically. There's a great list. I want to see if I can find it.
But Chris was the third-string quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Wesley Carroll got knocked out of that game as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Let's see if I can find these quotes.
And then the next year, of course.
Here we go. Jack Crystal quotes from that Egg Bowl. We may run into the next segment here. That's fine. The QB and the receiver weren't on the same page there, but hey, it's only week 11. Ole Miss just scored, and we don't know who scored because number 85 isn't listed on their roster. It's academic at this point. It's third down and so long you will need surveying equipment to see how much is needed for a first down. There's only 45 seconds left. Maybe Ole Miss won't score another touchdown in the first quarter, that is. Ole Miss has punted once today for a grand total of 12 yards. They ought to improve on that with this next punt. Let's punt it again. McAdams has to punt it a lot in his final game as a Bulldog. For the record, both teams have all their timeouts left, so that ought to make it fun. Here he is. Chris Relf can throw it long. He cannot throw it accurately, but he can throw it long. Well, the Bulldogs take a delay of game. That backs them up to their 4, where it'll be 4th and 31. We just wanted McAdams to have plenty of room to kick the ball because he has such a powerful leg. McAdams is not a good punter. A great many of the 55,000 fans have left the game now. They might even be home now watching on TV. God, Jack, he did not pull any punches. So, My number 2 is also an Egg Bowl, the 2016 Egg Bowl, 55-20.
I was in the stands that day.
So was I. And another one I went to, I thought, Ole Miss is probably going to win this one. And State was just so bad defensively that year. But Ole Miss could not stop the run. State in this game, let me pull the box score up, rushes for 457 yards, almost 10 yards per carry. Nick Fitzgerald, 14 carries, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was 8 of 17, but who cares when you throw for 3 touchdowns? The game was tied. It was 20-20, and then State just took over. Got the last touchdown on the pick 6 from Cedric Giles. I may have never giggled harder in my life than when Cedric Giles picked that off and scored. I remember my favorite moment walking around the square like Ric Flair. I was just strutting down the square. Like, what are they going to say? It's 55-20. So that was a fun one.
The 2016 Ole Miss team is very similar to the 1997 Mississippi State team. If I'd have told you some of the scores, you'd been like, "Oh, whoa. Ole Miss is going to blow out Georgia, 42-14."
Yeah.
All right, that's going to be an awesome year. You almost beat Florida State. Hey, okay.
Yeah.
And it all ends in tears.
Yeah, it does. All right, what's your number 1?
This is recency bias. I know it.
That's fine.
I went with the 2024 Ole Miss Arkansas game. Ole Miss 63, Arkansas 31.
Oh, God, Dart in that game.
Jordan Watkins in that game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, at the end of the first quarter, I think it was 10-3 or 7-3 Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was close for a second there.
Arkansas and Ole Miss have been so similar in so many ways. I mean, you look at the games they play against each other. They're close. They have 3 in my lifetime. They have 3 games decided by 1 point, which is hard to do in football sometimes. Most of those games, it's like half of their games are decided by 7 points or less.
Arkansas Ole Miss is usually wacky.
It's usually let's get wild.
Yeah,
let's get weird.
Not this one.
This one was not, and this was the divergent point of these 2 programs. You saw 2 programs going in completely opposite directions. Because going into this game, if you remember and you go, well, it's Arkansas, they're terrible. No, they had beaten Tennessee, who was ranked like number 3 at the time.
Yeah. Well, this Arkansas team went to a bowl game.
They had beaten Mississippi State. I believe they beat Mississippi State by 30-something points the week before.
That was the game where that was really bad. That was the worst, the low point of the Hutzler defense.
Yes. And going into this game, it's like, okay, and remember the year before they had that incredibly great game where they went to overtime. It was, I believe, a 1-point win for Ole Miss, 56-55, something like that. But Jackson Dart and crew just could not be stopped. Jordan Watkins, 5 touchdowns, 254 yards. Dart had 6 touchdowns, 515 yards.
Yeah.
And they were just picking on Arkansas secondary. Arkansas came back and scored a few touchdowns late in the game.
Yeah, they lost by 30, and it still wasn't that close.
Yeah.
This game could have been 60-0 if Ole Miss really wanted it to.
Yeah.
So that's a great one. That's a good choice. I went with the last one for me, 2017 Mississippi State 37, LSU 7. Maybe it's just because you don't beat LSU that badly very often, especially Mississippi State. But my goodness, did the Dogs destroy the Tigers. By the way, if you had told me coming out of that game that 2 years later Ed Orgeron would coach the greatest college football team maybe of all time and win a national title, you could have had every dollar I have and every dollar I would ever make because I would have never believed you. State, again, running the football, 285 yards rushing. Eris Williams, 146. Fitzgerald, 88 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns in the air. Defensively, it's kind of a weird game. State didn't force any turnovers. They just didn't give anything up. And just a fun game. A game that I was covering that one, and State just destroyed LSU out there. You just don't see LSU get beaten up like that very often by Mississippi State. LSU will go play in Alabama and take a beating like that every now and then, maybe a Florida back in the 90s or whatever. But State, that may have been the pinnacle of the Dan Mullen times. As badly as good as it was to be number 1 in terms of just the on-field performance against a good team, that might have been it.
That was a weird year for LSU because like 2 weeks later they lost to Troy. they would go on to beat Auburn, Texas A&M, Tennessee, blew out some of those, beat Ole Miss that year for an incredibly weird year for them. But, yeah, it's not often you get many of those LSU dominations. But here's one for you. Okay. This is what Richard Cross texted me.
Oh, Richard. Oh, he texted you. Okay, go
2008,
ahead.
Ole Miss at LSU. When that game had 5 minutes left, there were about 10,000 LSU fans still in the stadium, and they were trying to get out, but it was a party for the Rebels. LSU had 37 yards of rushing on 29 attempts.
Oof. Let me see. What was the score of that one? 2008, 31-13. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
That's a really good one. We'll go to the C Spire text line real quick. We've got some good ones here. 2008 Egg Bowl. I remember looking up in the quarter and seeing third quarter and seeing minus 19 offensive yards for Mississippi State. That's Austin from Tremart. Larry and Mai said, I saw Ole Miss smoke Mississippi State Dak's senior year. That was beautiful.
That one almost made my list, but it, some of these other ones pushed it out.
And State I would never say State got back in the game, but they cut the margin.
Yes.
Like, that game was way out of hand, and then State got a couple late touchdowns.
And that's the reason why I got knocked off my list.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see here. 08 Egg Bowl, 14 Ole Miss Tennessee, 09 Ole Miss Tennessee, 24 Ole Miss Arkansas, 15 Ole Miss A&M. That's a good one that we didn't mention. There's that 08 Egg Bowl again. We'll do a few more. Normally Rhino plays this song when we're off work. You shouldn't tease me like this, Will. We got one more segment to go. We'll hit some more of yours on the C Spire text line. What were your most dominant wins for the Rebels and Bulldogs? We'll do a few more of those when we come back, and we'll wrap it up with you on a Friday. Sports Talk Mississippi back in just a moment.
From the Venable Glass Trap.
Or Sports Talk Mississippi. Now.
Let's wrap things up here with you on a Friday. Great week here on Sports Talk Mississippi. Got a great week coming up next week. A couple of more Jackson area chefs are going to join us to talk about their stories and some of the great things going on in the capital city. Looking forward to that. Plus, we're just another week closer to football. That's the
absolutely.
Main thing. So, all right, let's go back to the C Spire text line 601-879-4395. My worst beating in Mississippi State history was the 1971 Egg Bowl. It was embarrassing. I believe that one is. Let me double check here. I think that's the 51-14. I could be wrong. Not that I was alive.
Yeah, and our criteria was ones that we had seen.
Yeah, 48-0. That was 48-0. So the next year was 51. So you had back-to-back years for Ole Miss where the combined score of the Egg Bowl was 99-14.
Wow.
Let me just tell you something right now. I would have taken that Monday off. If Sports Talk Mississippi had been a thing, it's been like, hey, Dad's not here today. He took a personal day. I don't know where he is. Ole Miss 38, Tennessee nothing in 1969 had to be in there somewhere. That's the Archie Who game.
Yep.
2012 Egg Bowl, Moncrief nearly beat State by himself, and it ended a State streak of 3 or 4 wins, 41-24. I would say that was obviously a good win for Ole Miss, but that wasn't a dominant win. State led at the half.
Yeah.
1997 Ole Miss LSU. That's a good one. LSU had just beaten Florida, the number one team in the nation. And then Richard likes to tell that story about him being in class, or he was at a defensive driving class, and he was listening to the game. He had like a little headset in, and he celebrated a touchdown, and the sheriff was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was listening to the game." And the sheriff got mad. He's like, "You've been listening to this game the whole time and haven't given me a score update once?" So yeah, that's a good one. I remember that game. What year did State beat Kentucky 45-7? That's a good one. I think that's Mullins last year. I think that's 2017, if I'm correct.
This person mentions Ole Miss over Georgia in 2024 and Oxford 28-10.
Yeah, it was 2017.
That was it got more dominant as the game went on. But early on, Georgia, if you'll remember, Jackson Dart got knocked out early on. Austin Simmons comes in, goes down there, scores a touchdown. But Georgia had him on the ropes there for a minute early on. and just added to the lead as the game went on. We wouldn't call it dominant, though.
Well, it was defensively dominant.
Yeah.
Defensively, Ole Miss defensively.
Yeah.
I got this guy on the text line. It's unbelievable. He honestly doesn't believe that an offensive system is a thing. Like, I've never seen anything like this discussion I'm having. I wish you guys could see it.
Just ignore him.
I can't. It's like I've got him on the reel here, and I got to reel him in.
Block him.
I'm not going to block him.
Block him.
I should. He was very nasty to us the other day, but like, guys, you've never heard of an offensive system like the veer and shoot, the West Coast offense? These are systems. I don't know what you want to hear from me.
One thing Brian and I were talking about during the break was I was mentioning some games that I just don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the 2016 Ole Miss whooping of Georgia.
Yeah.
Beat them 45-14. I have no memory of that game whatsoever. I don't know if it was drinking or
it was an early game.
Gas. I don't know what I was doing. But
it was a really early game. And I think that was kind of the game with Ole Miss. They had lost to Florida State. I think people were like, okay, because remember that team came in and they were preseason top 15 or something. You thought, okay, they're all right. They're going to figure it out. They're going to be good. And then, from there.
That was the game. Remember they had the lead against Florida State and they gave it up.
Yeah.
And same thing happened with Alabama the week before. Now, that game I remember. I remember almost every play of that game. But I just don't – that Georgia game it was Kirby Smart's first year. It just completely blanked in my mind.
I'm sure I have a few like that here and there. So, somebody was just wanted to hurt State and Ole Miss feelings here. Mentioned the 52-0 game for Mississippi State against Florida, but then turned around and was like, what about that game with Oxford where LSU took a knee with 5 minutes to go? The final score of that one, I think, was also 52-0. I was at that game. Don't ask me why I was at an Ole Miss LSU game. I think State was on the road, and I had tickets.
You just hate yourself.
Well, I did not know what I was walking into, and I remember I was sitting with my cousins who are LSU fans, and when he took a knee, we were all just like, hold up. There's 5 minutes to go, and it's like, I've never seen that. I've never seen that before, and haven't seen it since then. So I can't keep up with you guys keep up with the years like you can, but Mike Leach's first year against LSU, but that game was back and forth. State didn't put it away until late. That was a very competitive game. State didn't dominate, despite the fact that they threw for 632 yards.
I think it was more the surprise.
The surprise is absolutely.
I mean, because you had LSU coming off, the incredible 2019 season.
Yeah.
And throwing for all those yards. Yeah, I remember being shocked at that one, but it was a little bit closer than what you remember.
Oh, they lost by 10. They won by 10.
Yeah.
And they were up 3, scored, and then LSU was driving to try to make it a one-score game again. So, all right. Always fun going down memory lane with you guys. We'll do some more of that this offseason as we continue these top fives. Michael Borky will be back. He may have a tattoo of an American flag on his forehead when he comes back. Who knows? Will, always appreciate you jumping in with me, man. It's always a lot of fun. Appreciate everybody on the text line, even this guy who doesn't know what a system is. You got to have a system. There's no system. Appreciate y'all. Have a great Father's Day. As you will. First Father's Day. Enjoy it.
One.
Put your feet up. Don't do nothing. Talk to you guys on Monday. Later.
Oh, it's incredible! A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.